In sections 7.2 and 7.3, we've been talking about all of the different units that are used in the metric system. And now we're going to be using something called a unit fraction to convert between these units. So first let's talk about what a unit fraction is. So a unit fraction is a fraction that equals 1 with two different units. So examples of these would be something like the unit fraction 1 meter over 100 centimeters. Because 100 centimeters and 1 meter represent the same amount of length, these two are a unit fraction. They're a fraction that's equal to 1. When we're using unit fractions to convert our units of length, there's some steps we're going to follow. The first step is to write the starting amount over the number 1. So we're going to turn that beginning amount into a fraction by putting it over a 1. Our second step is to place units in the unit fraction so that they will cancel. And I'll show you what that looks like here in a minute when we do an example. Once we have our units in place, we want to place the values, the number part, not the letter part, in the unit fraction. And then our next to last step is to cancel units, and then multiply or divide as needed. So let's look at an example of this. We're starting with the amount 52 kilometers. So I'm going to write my 52 kilometers over the number 1. That's what step 1 is. Then I'm going to be multiplying this by a unit fraction that will allow me to cancel out kilometers and change to meters. So I'm going to put the units in first. I want kilometers on the bottom because I want to be able to cross-cancel the kilometer unit. And I'm going to put the meters on the top because that's the unit that I want to still be left when I'm done. So that was step 2. Step 3 is to think of what values do I need to put in here in order to make this fraction equal to the number 1. Well, it would take me 1,000 meters to make just 1 kilometer. So now my values are in. I can cancel the kilometers, which means the unit that's going to be left after I do my multiplication is the meters unit. And then I just do the multiplication. 52 times 1,000. To do this, you should just be using the shortcut for multiplying by powers of 10. When you're multiplying by a power of 10, you move the decimal, the number of zeros, to the right. So this number is going to become 52,000 meters. Let's try another example. 814 millimeters placed over a 1, multiplication. I want millimeters to cancel out, I want meters to stay. So I've got my units in place. The values are the values that are going to make this equal 1. Well, it takes 1 meter and 1,000 millimeters in order to make a number 1. Then I cancel out my like units. That means I'm going to have meters left when I'm done. And now this problem is 814 divided by 1,000. Because when I go to multiply these together, I'm going to have 814 over 1,000. So to divide by powers of 10, we move the decimal, the number of zeros, places, this time to the left though, so that our number will divide and get smaller. So I end up with 814 thousandths meters. We'll put the meter a little closer there. In this final example, I'm changing 2.7 meters to centimeters. So I'll start it the same way with the 2.7 meters over 1. Put my dot for multiplication in my next fraction bar. I want meters to go away, so meters is going to go on the bottom and centimeters on the top. The thing that will make this unit fraction a unit fraction, make it equal to 1, is if I have 1 meter on the bottom and 100 centimeters on the top. I cancel out my like units and then multiply through. 2.7 times 100, I'm multiplying by a power of 10, so the decimal is going to go to the right or make that number bigger, and it becomes 270 centimeters.